Greetings! My name is Jason Ward and I'm the Associate Director for International Programs in the Hebner School of Business at the University of Florida. I work with the UF International Center, the Hebner School of Business, and our affiliate agency CRCC Asia to bring you the 2018 UF in Beijing Internship Program. I have been leading our summer programs in China since 2012 and will be leading the group again this summer. As the program leader, I advise, select, prepare, and accompany our students in Beijing. I also work closely with our affiliate, CRCC Asia, who provides internship support and placements for all students in the program. I am passionate about our students getting experience in Beijing, so I made this short video to explain this awesome opportunity this summer. So let me begin by giving you a little background on how we developed this program. Our first programs in China focus mostly on company and cultural visits. We created this new model in 2016 to incorporate more hands-on learning for our students. In fact, our goal for this program is to provide students with professional experience in a strategic location at an affordable cost. To meet this goal, we attended the Global Internship Conference in Dublin, Ireland, and met with several agencies who provide placements in China. We eventually contracted with CRCC Asia based on the quality of their placements and the support services they offer. In our first offering in 2016, we had 14 students complete the program. It grew to 20 students in 2017. You can see us here in the Forbidden City, once home to the Ming and Qing emperors. We invite all majors to apply, so participants range in age, major, and experience. Internship placements varied almost as much as them. Our students have worked in legal firms, import trade companies, public relations, financial services, and startup incubators, but more on that later. In 2017, I think only 3 of the 20 students spoke Mandarin. While this can provide some challenges, CRCC Asia ensures that all interns have an English-speaking supervisor. I know it is hard to believe, but Chinese language is not required for success in this program. Our students have more study abroad options than ever before. Data also suggests that undergraduate students are interning more than ever. To make the most of your resources and time, it is important to weigh the value of the location, features, and goals of the programs you consider. For students considering this program, the first question they must answer is, why intern abroad? One of the main goals of our college is to enhance the employability of our students. We pay attention to studies about student success and employability like the ones you see here. These studies suggest that students who intern and study abroad enjoy greater professional opportunities and higher starting salaries. For this reason, our college requires students to complete an internship or study abroad experience as part of their graduation. The best results go to students who do both. Professional experience prepares students for the workforce. Industry skills increase their likelihood of success. Internships allow students to try out an industry and affirm their dedication. And resumes document success for employers and make the students more competitive. International internships do all this and more. Professional success abroad demonstrates to employers that students can succeed anywhere they may wind up. Most UF graduates today work for multinational corporations. I suspect that they will often be involved in sourcing materials from different companies around the world, coordinating with international offices, and working with international team members. Domestic companies also face new challenges in the global marketplace. They must compete with international companies and understand global trends in order to maintain success. In short, our graduates work and compete in a global marketplace. To address these challenges, CRCC, Asia, and UF focus on 5 central goals. The first goal is employability. Working in China helps students develop a range of different skills, enhance their resume, and get professional office experience. Simple skills like answering a phone or composing a professional email will help them in their future jobs. Goal 2 is cultural agility. Professional experience in Beijing will challenge cultural and professional norms that we have in the United States. As a result of their experience in Beijing, students will learn how to be successful in China and will develop transferable skills to success in any unfamiliar environment. Goal 3 is China knowledge. China is a country that is unavoidable for future professionals. Students in this program will learn about China from the inside out through their Chinese supervisor and colleagues. Students in the program also complete 1 week of coursework about China, 1 week of cultural site visits, and 4 survival Mandarin Chinese lessons. Goal 4 is sector-specific knowledge. Employment can often be like banking. You need to have money to borrow money, and you need to have experience to get a position. CRCC Asia prides itself on placing students in industry sectors that closely align with their professional goals, interests, and abilities. This provides an amazing opportunity for students to learn about the industry from experience and through their relationship with the English-speaking supervisor. Goal 5 is Global Guanxi. Guanxi is similar to what we think of networking in the United States, but it is so much more. In fact, Guanxi is the fundamental foundation in all walks of Chinese life and society. Students will soon learn that their interpersonal and professional connections are key to business success in China. CRCC uses its Guanxi with employers to arrange placements for students. Students will develop their own global Guanxi through their work in China and establish professional connections that may prove invaluable. Many of the students who went on the program in the last 2 years still keep in touch with their supervisor and colleagues. Several students use their recommendations from their time in China to apply for jobs in graduate programs. In developing these 5 areas, students will be better prepared for work in China, but also in any international setting they encounter in their professional career. The second question students should ask themselves is why China? Most U.S. students study abroad in Western Europe. I often like to ask them which country they think they are most likely to do business with in the future. At this point, most people recognize that the global focus has shifted to China. China only recently became a superpower, but it now has an undeniable impact on world affairs and business. In fact, it is difficult to understand many stories in the newspaper today without an understanding about what is going on in China. Let's discuss a few reasons why China is unique and important, particularly for the business leaders of tomorrow. China's 5,000-year history makes it the longest continuous civilization in the world. Many students study abroad in Europe because they appreciate the history, but in fact China is both older and newer. The Terracotta Army, pictured here, were buried with China's first emperor in 210 BCE. At the same time, China has just recently had their Industrial Revolution. They have modern transportation systems and many futuristic buildings. This is just one of many paradoxes in China. With a long and rich history, Chinese see life and world affairs in a very different way than most Americans. This has become increasingly important to understand as China has gained prominence on the world stage. While many feel that China has just recently gained prominence, China sees the recent events as a restoration of the natural order. After all, China was responsible for the 4 inventions of modern times: paper, movable type, compass, and gunpowder. With the world getting smaller and many geopolitical events on the horizon, it is more important than ever for U.S. leaders to understand how China thinks. Napoleon Bonaparte was quoted to say, "Let China sleep. When she wakes, she will shake the world." One can argue that China woke up in 2008 for the Olympics and is now shaking the world with their influence. This is something that you can definitely feel when you are in China. I imagine it feels like the United States in the Roaring '20s. When you are there, it's hard to believe how quickly China is growing and developing. To demonstrate how much China has changed, I want to show you 2 satellite images of China at night. Because cities are more lit up, this provides a way to visually see China's growth. This first image is from 1992. You can see 3 clusters of lights in Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, but not much else. Compare that to the same view in 2010. The 3 clusters in the last photo have grown considerably. You can see that development and industry is still mostly situated on the eastern coast. In fact, this is still where you will find the biggest cities in China. Unlike the previous image, though, we now see many clusters more inland. The goal of the Chinese government is to improve the standard of life for all of its citizens. In the last decade, the government has started giving incentives for business and development in the West. This may be where businesses turn next for low wages and favorable business practices. China is home to approximately 1.4 billion people, making it the most populous country in the world, 4 times greater than the U.S. population. In fact, 20% of people in the whole entire world live in China. It is said by 2025, China will build 10 cities the size of New York. So why is this important for us? Well, huge population surges in the last 10 years have created 10 million new urban jobs. China is now home to the largest middle class in the world. This represents enormous market potential for U.S. companies, and they are increasingly targeting urban consumers and seeking opportunities for trade and investment. The photo on this slide is a career showcase in China. I bet you can't imagine that level of competition. China's gross domestic product is currently 11.2 trillion. According to the International Monetary Fund, China is now the largest economy in the world. It was scheduled to hit this mark in 2018, but they reached that target early. China is the fastest growing economy in the world with an average growth of 6.5% to 7% of GDP, more than doubling the growth rate in the United States. I just mentioned the enormous market potential in China, so it is not surprising that China is the number one destination for foreign investment. They also hold the largest currency reserves and hold the largest share of U.S. debt, making them both a competitor and a partner. I have done this presentation for quite a few years. In 2012, I had this same exact chart, and China's GDP at that time was 5.88 trillion. That just gives you a small idea of how fast this country grows, and the chart gives you a good idea of where the country is going. Fortune magazine provides yet another example of how China has increasing influence in the global marketplace. Each year they publish the Global 500, which is a list of the largest and most profitable companies in the world. In 2007, only 24 Chinese companies made the list. Today, 115 of the Global 500 are actually Chinese companies. Most of the Chinese companies on the list are state-owned because China controls major industry like gas, banking, energy, finance, and construction. Sinopec, pictured here, is Asia's largest oil refinery and the second largest company in the world. But lately, even public companies in China have gained prominence, most notably Jack Ma and his Alibaba Group. Alibaba is the largest e-commerce company in the world. In fact, the largest initial public offering in the U.S. stock market, you guessed it, a Chinese company named Alibaba. Now that we've talked a little bit about China, let's talk more about Beijing. Beijing is really the cultural capital of China. It has also been the political capital of China for 8 centuries. In Chinese, Bei means north and Jing means capital, so the name Beijing literally translates to northern capital. Beijing was the capital for several dynasties, but it became the official capital of China when it was founded by Kublai Khan in the 13th century. Kublai Khan was a descendant of Genghis Khan, the infamous Mongolian invader. When the Han Chinese Ming dynasty retook control of China, they decided to rebuild Beijing for their capital in the 14th century. The Ming emperors built many of the UNESCO cultural treasures that are most famous today, including the Great Wall and the Forbidden City. Beijing continued to serve as the capital from that point on, through the Qing dynasty and the rise of Mao Zedong and the People's Republic of China. Today, Beijing is a city that is constantly shifting and changing. It is a city that's distinctly Chinese, but also influenced by the West. It is the best place to explore Chinese culture and history, but also the best place to go to a mall. In fact, Beijing contains some of the biggest malls in Asia, where you can find lots of Western brands and restaurants. This dichotomy provides the perfect backdrop to understand China and its relationship with the rest of the world. It also represents the country's struggle to maintain their cultural heritage while also building a modern consumer-based culture. Another huge benefit of Beijing is cuisine, and I'm not referring to McDonald's here. Chinese food is very different from what we call Chinese food in the West. It is also quite diverse. Each province has its own special cuisine and special dishes. Being the capital, Beijing is the best place to experience all cuisines the country has to offer. Beijing is also a very safe city. According to the U.S. Department of State, Beijing is recognized as one of the safest capital cities in the world. I don't recommend doing this, but it is quite normal to see women walking alone in the city at 11 p.m. at night. In fact, fear of crime is 74% higher in the United States. While students may be more likely to be pickpocketed, violent crime is 3 times higher in the United States. The UF in Beijing Internship program is broken down into 3 separate components. Prior to leaving for Beijing, students complete a full week course to better understand Chinese culture and get to know the other interns. This year, the course will take place from May 7th to the 11th. It is 3 hours per day, Monday through Friday, and will be held on the UF campus. In this course, we try to help students begin understanding how China works. We pay special attention to China's political environment, economic development, and business culture from a historical perspective. On the last class, each student will complete a 10-minute professional presentation about the company they will be working for and the industry they will be working in. This is designed to help students prepare as much as possible for their internship. Students in the program earn a total of 6 credits through 2 courses. GEB 4956, Chinese Commerce and Culture, is a special course designed for this program. It represents the classes, events, and site visits in Beijing. GEB 4941 is our standard internship course modified for the Chinese setting. Among other things, this course requires students to set goals with their supervisor, write blogs about their company, participate in an internship coaching session, and complete a performance evaluation at the end of the term. This program satisfies the internship requirement for business students and the summer requirement for all students. The next component of the program is our Cultural Week in Beijing. This year it takes place from May 25th through the 31st. The Cultural Week is designed to increase knowledge and appreciation of China through visits to the most famous and important cultural highlights in Beijing. You have developed the itinerary in conjunction with CRCC Asia, and they provide a Chinese guide and transportation for all of the visits. In fact, all entrance fees, transportation, and most meals are covered during this time. The Cultural Week gives students the opportunity to get comfortable in Beijing and learn the metro system before beginning their internship. This is a photo of our students last year bonding in the Beijing metro. Let's see a few more highlights of this week. One cannot visit Beijing without a trip to the Forbidden City, the former Imperial Palace. This is our group last year standing outside Tiananmen Gate, otherwise known as the Gate of Heavenly Peace. This serves as the entrance to the palace once used by emperors, concubines, and eunuchs, but it also has a more modern history. It was on this very gate that Mao Zedong founded the People's Republic of China on October 1st, 1949. Today, his portrait still watches over Tiananmen Square, the largest public square in the world. After walking through the different areas in the palace and snapping a photo of the Dragon Throne, students will climb Jingshan Hill. This man-made hill was built from soil excavated for the moat around the palace. It gives a great view of the imperial axis. You can see that the buildings align, and in fact, if you continued that trajectory, you would run directly into the 2008 Olympic Stadium, known as the Bird's Nest. If you want to rid yourself of attachments, you are in luck. We visit the Lama Buddhist temple where students will have the chance to meet Buddhist monks, honor Buddha with incense, and see a giant Buddha figurine recognized in the Guinness Book of World Records. While China has more Christians than all of Europe combined, it is technically an atheist country. This does not mean that they do not have spirituality. In fact, Chinese people have many spiritual beliefs and traditions that combine Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism. Even emperors need a vacation, right? One of the perks of being the Emperor of China was access to the Imperial Lake House, known as the Summer Palace. Neither photos nor words can describe the beauty of this place. Quite simply, it is a masterpiece of Chinese architecture and gardening. Aside from the beautiful surroundings and historical buildings, students enjoy seeing Chinese families relax in the park. It is a common retreat for friends and family to escape the city for a game of badminton, hacky sack, or mahjong. Park life is very important in Beijing and something I recommend you try when you need a break from work. For the first week of the program, we will stay at a small hotel on Wangfujing Street. Wangfujing is the Times Square or Fifth Avenue of Beijing. It has an eclectic collection of international stores like Apple and Rolex, along with traditional Beijing stores which have been around for centuries, so it's the perfect place to experience Beijing's tensions between traditional and modern. Wangfujing is also home to the most famous food street. Here you can find scorpion, eel, and many other delicacies on a stick. I encourage photos but warn you not to be too adventurous. In fact, none of my Chinese friends ever seem to be eating these exotic items. Wangfujing is also a stone's throw away from Beijing's more modern buildings. This building is referred to as the Pants, and it is the home for CCTV. There's also the Egg, which is the Performing Arts Center in Beijing, which is a popular place to visit. During the Culture Week, UF students will stay in doubles with a UF student of the same gender. Each room is equipped with its own bathroom and Wi-Fi. The third part of the program is the internship itself. Students will complete their internships from May 31st to July 25th. All placements and internship support are organized by our partner, CRCC Asia. CRCC Asia has been working with over 600 companies for over 10 years, so they are the industry leader for internship placements in China. All companies provide a professional development experience and an English-speaking supervisor. CRCC Asia does not compensate the companies in their portfolio. Companies seek out international interns to enhance their own internationalization. They recognize that U.S. students bring unique insights and perspectives to the company. As you can see, CRCC Asia offers placements in a variety of sectors, ranging from business to creative agencies. They work with a variety of companies, some that are quite famous like Lenovo, Rolls-Royce, and Hilton, who all have offices in Beijing. They also work with many companies that you may not have heard of before. CRCC Asia guarantees students a placement in the first or second sector of their choice, but cannot guarantee a particular company. I would like to stress that the success of an internship experience does not depend on the size or prestige of the corporation, but rather what the student takes from the experience. Generally, interns tend to have better experiences working in smaller teams with smaller host companies because they tend to get more responsibility there. In either case, CRCC Asia will have an orientation prior to the internship and actually drop you off at the company on your first day, so they can help you connect with your new supervisor. UF students have held a variety of internship positions in the last 2 years. Here are the 20 students that participated in the 2017 program to demonstrate what I mean. Alexandra worked for an import company that is selling Belgium chocolate and beer brands in China. I know she helped create many promotional events and even developed a food and beverage tasting menu for a restaurant they were working with. Her placement was very international, so it was quite easy for her to adjust. Jacob Henschel, on the other hand, worked for an investment firm that bought and sold distressed companies. He spent most of his time researching companies so that the company could properly value their investments. His company was a small Chinese company, so the adjustment period was a bit more difficult. By the end of the program, however, Jacob had even visited the home of his supervisor, who happened to be one of the executives in the company. Many of the details I discussed in this presentation can be found on our UF in Beijing Internship Program page. This is also a good resource to better understand what it is like to be an intern in China. If you scroll down to the internship section, you can find our UF student blogs. Each semester, I give students the option of doing a public blog in lieu of a term paper. Fortunately, students have always agreed to share their experiences. From the student blog page, you can access each student who interned in the program in both 2016 and 2017. Simply highlight the term and select the student. Each student should have 9 entries with the latest entry on top. Journal assignments are part of the internship course, so they are largely focused on the company and work experience. These blogs should be helpful in understanding the types of companies you may work for and the types of projects students have in China. During the internship portion of the program, students will live in Jiuxian condominiums, located near the Central Business District and the 798 Art District. Students will enjoy their own room in a 2 or 3 bedroom condominium, complete with a kitchen, stove, refrigerator, living room area, washer, and television. The location is ideal for both pleasure and commuting to work. Commutes in Beijing hover around 60 minutes, but can take up to an hour and 15 minutes for some companies. If the internship is a longer commute, CRCC Asia will usually clear it with the student ahead of time. The condominium is also a 5-minute walk from the grocery store, McDonald's, and a highly regarded international hospital. So we are now recruiting our group of 20 students for the Summer 18 program. The program deadline may extend as late as March 1st, but we have set a priority deadline of January 30th. We hope to have most of our group selected by then. If you have any questions or want to learn more about the program, please make an appointment by calling me at 352-273-0167. If you are interested in applying, please send me your resume and I will contact you soon for an interview. If the interview confirms that you are a good fit for the program, you will apply online and pay a deposit of $350 to reserve your spot. In February, accepted students will complete an interview with the CRCC Asia admissions officer. In that conversation, you will discuss what placements make sense with your resume and career goals. Accepted students will receive their confirmed placements in early May, right before our class begins at UF. So that concludes my overview of the UF in Beijing Internship Program. I hope this was informative and helped you determine if Beijing is in your future. I do hope you consider expanding your professional profile in China, and I'm happy to help you in any way I can. Please do reach out to me if you have any questions about Beijing or other study abroad programs that we offer. I'm here to help, regardless of what your study abroad goals may be. Thank you for listening, and go Gators, go global.